Hey. Hi, Brian. How are you? I sent you a quick outline of what we're going to talk about. I Facebooked it to you, Facebook messaged it to you. Do you want me to just take a few minutes to run through it now? Yeah, okay. So I'm just going to, sort of do an introduction, and then I'm going to talk about some of the things I liked about what you said in your file that you put in our thing. Then I want to know about your business, your role in it, and then you have your client tech stack in there. So, but I'd love to know about your internal one. Then we're going to talk about MailChimp for a few minutes. That was an original idea. MailChimp, I just think of it as marketing. I hadn't really thought about it for onboarding. So I'd love to talk about that for a few minutes. It's one of the things I always get out of Heather. Saturday, I'm in her course. I'm getting more out of the other things she suggests, I swear, than that. Because scares me. And because I like to know about it, firm training, education, trying to bring them to the cloud. So, anyways, I love the sideways thought on and then I want to talk about what problems were you were trying to solve with your Zap. And then I want to run through the steps of your Zap. So what you did with it, the app, triggers, action. Okay, so that all sounds pretty good to you. Yeah, well, I know we've only got a half an hour, and so I already said in Facebook if people could like at least read your file beforehand. We're not going to spend any time talking about what it is we're going to be talking about, right? And it sounded like we were covering more ground there than we really are, right? Because we're not going to talk about your app stacks because we all know it already. If they read the file, we know what your client app stack. Be nice to know what you're using internally because then we're going to get to what you're doing with your Zap, right? Yeah. Matt, and there's an outline of it that I sent to you. Oh, okay, great. Okay, and so you are going to be home in time for this, right? Okay. Sliding in sideways. Okay, well that's great. I super appreciate you doing this for us. Okay, so I'll let you concentrate unless you have any other questions for me. Yeah, well, professionally, what you see is what you get. Well, not actually I'm busy. Uh, so I've owned a bunch of businesses over the years. Most of them were in marketing, so that's where I'm coming from on the whole Mailchimp thing. The branding company, and so then I don't know. It's a lot of the same skill sets, project management. So I wound up in bookkeeping. But I pared down my client list last year, and I am building up my firm consultation side because the businesses that I came from were super tech driven. And so I love tech, and it would appear that I'm quite far out on tech in accounting. So I'm having, and it doesn't feel like it to me because, anyways, every day is overwhelming with tech. Zap is the, yeah, Zap is the one. But anyways, it's been fun. So I'm working with accounting and bookkeeping firms on getting into the cloud effectively. I mean, we could all go to the cloud, but man, it can be frustrating, right? Yep. Whereas for me, I pretty much love every working day. even when I'm bookkeeping. So that's what I'm trying to do, is bring that around. Yep. And I'm a trainer writer for Intuit, and do some writing for HubDoc and the usual suspects, right? Yep. So yeah, and I'm going to ask you about you in our meeting. So I'm not going to ask you anything about that now, because I've already said that I don't know you, so I can't really get to know you. And I'd like you to have a chance to tell your story a bit too, right? So you in about 10 minutes then. Okay, great. Drive safe. Thanks. Bye. Let's. Hi guys. Hopefully you can hear me. I am just going to get things going so I can see some of my friends out there. Can you guys hear me? Yeah. Okay, Tam. Oh, I've got you muted, Tam. Who would do that to you? I've got you all muted. Let's not do that. There we go. There we go. Okay, I gotcha. Hi, guys. How are y'all? Let me just see if I can get some light here. A little bit, not much. Hey, Arden, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I love that dog thing. I would like.
I saw that and I instantly thought Kellie would love that.
I did love that. Yeah, and actually, I got at my feet right now doing about the same thing that dog was doing.
Aha, there you go.
Now, because I have Australian Shepherds, let me just see if maybe you guys. There we go. So there we go. Because I have Australian Shepherds, they're generally working dogs, and
okay.
They don't go into our lake unless they have a job, right? They go in to catch a ball and all that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
And but my new one, she goes in to swim for no apparent reason, just for fun. She just
for
goes
fun.
In and swims. Yeah. So you never know.
Yep.
Yep. And how are you doing, Tam?
Yeah, not bad actually. Not bad. Crazy.
Uh-oh. Hi, Samantha. How are you?
How are you, handsome? Yeah, we're trying to do something and it's killing me anyways.
That's not good.
No, that's not good.
No, it's fun and you will be a part of it, Arden. You just have to wait until everything gets to where I need it to be, and you'll hear about it in about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Do you remember that conversation we had in February?
February, January is all a blur, but vaguely, yeah.
Okay, it's coming to fruition.
Oh, right. Okay, I think I remember now.
Yeah, so just bear with me. It's coming.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then, yeah, I need you.
Oh, okay.
Oh, baby. Hey, let's keep it clean in here. So Arden and Tamitha, how do you guys know each other? I mean, other than clearly, I mean, I don't mean to ask the stupid question, but I didn't know that.
That's personal, Kel. No.
Yeah. I mean, you know,
On that note, hi.
Jeff introduced us.
Yes, actually.
Oh, okay, so the same link you and I have, Arden.
There you go.
Yeah,
Jeff is like the hub, yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. Wait, and Elizabeth, hi, nice to see you.
Hi.
And Michelle, nice to see you. Well, I don't actually see you, Michelle. You don't have your video going.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good day.
How are things in the Great White North?
Wet and rainy now.
Oh, are they? Yeah, we've had some heaving rain down here in the last couple of, I guess the last week, which has been great. We certainly needed it. There we go.
Yeah, same here. It's been really hot here. Everything was crunchy.
Yeah. Well, up by our cottage, it's crazy. We're up by Perry Sound, and our island is. My parents have an island up there, so it shouldn't really have a big effect on us. But we got a ton of smoke.
Oh wow.
Yeah, a ton of smoke out where we are. There we go. Hi, Dan. Oh wait, let's unmute Dan Chun. Hi there. I've never met you like face to face like this. Hi, I've seen you obviously on social media.
Hi.
Hi. So nice to see you live. And I'm still.
You too. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm just having one of my staff join me. Is that okay?
No. No, sorry. If they didn't register, they can't be in on this. I stand on protocol very heavily. Oh. I'm kidding. Okay. If you don't know me, you would know that I'm going to fight with my light here. There we go. Hi, Kimmy.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you, dear?
I'm good.
Hi, Arden. Hi, Tim.
Hi, Kimmy.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi.
Hi.
So lots of the usual playmates in here, which is fun to see. Yeah.
I'm gonna be eating lunch while I watch.
Okay. No problem. Am I going to be jealous of what it is?
I was gonna say ice cubes.
No, it's a slice of pizza.
Oh, fun. Actually, my new puppy chews ice cubes. She loves them. That is her thing. She's different than all my other dogs. I've never had a dog that really chewed the ice cubes either. So there you go. We're just going to talk about my dog. You know.
I make ice cubes out of, I add a little bit of either chicken or beef broth to it.
Oh, yeah?
Okay.
I give those to the dog.
Let me see. I'm just going to unmute some more people here because who doesn't love a little chaos? And we will. I have learned my lesson. The thing I don't like about doing the webinars is I feel like I'm talking into some sort of
Abyss.
nice try, Marge. I just unmuted you too. I feel like I'm talking into like a void or a vacuum. And but I learned my lesson that sometimes you don't realize what's going on in the background. So I've had some vacuuming and just so that you guys know, I think a lot of you know that I'm in the middle of renovations of to put it mildly, a cabin that needs it. So if my dad pops his head in, aka my contractor, and starts swearing, then I think some of you have seen my head's dad pop into things before. So I, for now, am unmuting you, and if you decide you would like to be muted, you can just go ahead and mute you. But if you want to say hi to anybody, just say hi. Okay. Or not. Oh, wait, we got more people up here. Oh, the phone. So,
Okay.
2 seconds there. We're getting a good little crew here. There we go. Oh, I just keep unmuting probably people who want to be muted because I'm just trying to keep up with it here. Sorry, guys.
There's nowhere to hide.
There is nowhere to hide. Oh, Tamitha, you muted yourself, I see. I'm trying to keep up with who muted themselves. And there we go. Hi, Nadine. I thought I unmuted Nadine. We've got a good little crew going in here, guys. There we go. So there you go. I was a little happily surprised by the turnout, the people that, and I get that Zap is popular. So that's kind of cool. But it's basically just me managing it. We are going to open chat, but I'm going to try and manage Ryan. I'm going to try and manage chat, and I'm going to try and manage people wanting to come in. So wish me luck on all of that. I guess I could have planned this whole thing out a little bit better, but you know. Hey, Tiff, how are you? Wait, hold on. There we go. Hi, Tiffany.
Hey, how are ya?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Oh, great.
Yes, I'm going to turn the video off so you don't see me cursing at stupid drivers. But
that is
pop in and say hi.
Okay, that's great. I'm glad you did. And we're going to say hi to a few more people. Hi, Steve. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, Kelly?
I'm great. Thank you. And I see, there we go. So we got, is anybody, chat me in if you want me to unmute you for the next few minutes while we wait for Brian. Brian is not here yet. So we'll just have to hang on, and maybe we're going to go just a touch over. We'll just see how that all goes. How's that? And so there we go. Okay. And so Steve, you muted yourself too. So I guess here I am chatting away to myself. And
I'll chat with you, Kelly. What would you like to chat about?
I don't know how scared I am of Zapier. Can we talk about that for a few minutes?
It's awesome. It's awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing what Brian is going to show us. I don't think we've ever done an 18-step Zap before, so it'll be cool.
I know, right? Imagine the work that went into that one. Yeah, and you know, it's funny. I think the memo's gone out that I love technology. Zapier is it's a little out there for me. Now, the one thing that so I'm taking Heather Satterley's course. I'm supposed to be in it right now, so you can see how that worked out. We'll talk about the whole fail around this webinar shortly, but I'm taking Heather's course because I didn't really get, it's almost like the power of Zapier was overwhelming for me. And so I'm looking forward to hearing what Brian is doing with it as well. There was a few other things that came out of Brian's post that went in there. So that was terrific. But what I do love, and maybe because it's that taking that one first step, is I love Zapier Push. So that has been a bonus for me, is I've been playing with Zapier Push. And to me, that's just kind of simple. You've got a button on your Chrome extension, and I think we all know how I feel about my Chrome. So there's basically an extension. There's a button that you can do just instant little things there. And those have been the kind of fun ones for me. And yes, I know I just used the word fun, but what do you say, right? Yeah. So that's where I'm at on that. I would love to hear, like, if somebody could just, I don't know, unmute yourself and let me know that I'm not the only person who's a little overwhelmed by Zapier. That would be awesome. Huh. No, just me?
No, not just you. I'm very overwhelmed, Elizabeth.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Well, Elizabeth, if you're overwhelmed, holy moly.
Tracy, I did it. I tried it as well and kind of went, I'm going to wait for the webinar.
Oh, okay. So, well,
I'm waiting for the Zapier for Dummies book.
Yeah, well, if I could make a recommendation, it's Heather Satterley's course. So today is not, just so that we're clear, this is a chat on what Brian has set up. It is, oh, and there, Brian, hold on. Let me just let Brian in. Why don't we let Brian in, and maybe we'll even unmute him.
Again, okay, hold on.
Give me 2 seconds just to find Brian here.
Anyway, just saying hi.
And do you want to mute? You want to mute Margaret? I think she's having a conversation with somebody else.
Hi, Kelly. Sorry. Hi, Kelly. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hey, Margaret, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Yeah. My photo's not there, but I can't get my video to work, so I think it's kind of a good thing today.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I know how you feel. Okay, so Brian is here. Hey,
Okay,
Brian.
sorry,
Thank you so much. Okay, so we're going to do this. I would love if it was a little bit interactive, but I think for the first few minutes, if you could just mute yourselves, and then that way you have the capability to unmute when you are ready to ask a question. And if I mute you all, then I gotta get you to chat in and unmute you. And wait, I gotta chat too. Let's see who we've got. Oh, there you go. Okay. And hang tight. I guess we'll let Mike Wittes and Carrie in from Upside Accounting too. What the heck? I am definitely, hold on. And so I am going to start off with this. I want to thank everybody for joining us. And I would really, really like to make sure that we qualify that this is a chat with Brian and I. This is not a Zapier course. As I mentioned to some of you who were already in here before we started, Heather Satterley offers a fantastic course, which I'm supposed to be in right now. And clearly I'm not. And her course has been terrific. And I was mentioning to Brian a few minutes ago that one of the things that I am getting out of Heather's course is not just Zap. She is so tech savvy. She is my geek goddess. And I am getting so many other great ideas. So this is not a sales pitch for Heather's course. I'm just letting you know, Zapier is way too complicated for a half-hour webinar. This is strictly a conversation with Brian and I. And I jumped on it because Zap overwhelms me. As I was just saying, you could take a quick peek at Zapier Push. I think that's a great first step into Zapier. And you can just Google Zapier Push and you'll come up with what that actually means, and it's a Chrome extension. So anyways, I want to thank everybody for having patience. I could not have had more organizational or technology fails around this project if you will. I mean, who forgets that there's a long holiday weekend? Okay, well, that would be me. I forgot that it was a holiday weekend. And by then I already had my, oh, thanks, Tamitha, you too. I had my bulletproof automated system in place, but then there was a picnic. That is a problem in the computer, not in the chair, in that I didn't change dates around that. So some of you got my automated workflow early. And then 17 Hats this weekend had a complete system overhaul of who is hosting their app and their program. And that further threw off everything. So the timing, you all received the thank you for attending our webinar note already. And clearly we didn't attend it yet. And then today, and I'm supposed to be in my Zapier class with Heather. And of course, I kind of forgot that that was on the same day. And then this morning, my septic backed up. So you can imagine the challenges I'm feeling around this. And anyways, we are going to march on forward, or Brian's going to march on, and I'm just going to go crawl under a rock somewhere when this is all done. So anyways, Brian, say hello.
Hey, everybody.
And I would like to start with a great big thank you for being here. And I'm going to qualify that I don't know Brian. So Brian isn't one of my sort of usual playmates that I call upon way too much for favors. Trent put the post up in the watering hole. And Brian, do you want to thank Trent or go hunt him down and do bad things to him?
I'll go with thanking him. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Yeah. Trent's awesome. So,
Yeah.
so when I saw Brian's app, I jumped all over that. I saw that as a fantastic opportunity to have a quick chat, and I'm going to qualify one more time. It is a chat. It is not a lesson in Zap. What it is a guy, Brian, who has taken some problems and solved them in a pretty amazing little way. So, Brian, thank you so much for your generosity and your time today, and for putting your original post up in there. Much appreciated. So I'm going to start with a couple of quick things. I want to start with in your note, that the file that you put up in the watering hole. I love that right off the bat you set the expectation and you said no negativity, and I love that. It makes me crazy when people see something and then all of a sudden they got to hate on it. Like, why they got to do that, right?
Yeah.
So that's a whole other discussion, but I love that you set the groundwork for that. That was awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, there's definitely some haters out there. They like to comment on everything and troll people. So I like to kind of say it up front. If you don't have anything good to say, don't say it at all. And if you have something to say, make it at least constructive, right? Because you know, your group is it's a nice spot to share ideas with everyone. So it's constructive. It helps everybody.
Yep, that's great. Yep, I feel you. And the other thing that I loved is the way that you said keep the conversations in your email conversational, or keep your communications conversational. Oh boy, that's easy for me to say, right? That's awesome. I love that too. I love that my emails go out and there's a little bit of me in them. We don't have to be all technical. We can be real people. And, you know, it certainly doesn't hurt our reputation as accounting professionals that maybe we're not robots.
Yeah,
So,
I've heard I've heard this many times actually, is that clients want to work with someone that they can have a beer with.
yeah,
Right? So if
you
you're
know what?
using a ton of jargon, you know, they're gonna get annoyed and frustrated. But if you're making it conversational, then they can get along with you a lot easier.
Yeah, actually, that's a great way to put that. I like that. Yeah, awesome. Oh yeah, and the third thing that I wanted to mention is you said to map out your process from end to end, and I love that. Let's not chunk off these little wee pieces and then try and piece them all together. I think I've said before, I'm a big fan of people getting their processes down in writing, mapping them out, what's the end run on it, and what's it going to take you to get there. So I love that you reinforced that message that I believe in. So, you know, what do you have to do to get what you need done? So that was awesome.
Yeah, I kind of stole that from Practice Ignition actually.
Well,
But
there's so many good things to steal from Practice Ignition.
Yeah, because I think they do it in every single webinar or session they're doing, but they have this, I guess, document that they use where it's like 3 boxes essentially. And it's like, what is your process? What are the inputs? And then what are the outputs, right?
Yep.
Simple way to map out your end-to-end process. And it kind of makes you think about, where you are and where you want to be.
Yeah, it's great. There's so much to learn from the fellas over and the ladies over at Practice Ignition. Actually, so many of our app partners have such great information that even if the app doesn't necessarily always have an application, so I don't really need Practice Ignition. I'm not onboarding new bookkeeping clients. It's just not my gig. But man, do I think that that's a great program, and the guys over there have great thoughts. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'd really like to know is give us a quick little rundown on your business, please, and what it is you do there.
Sure. So my business name is Blueprint Accounting. We work out of Ottawa, Canada. I don't know if anyone's ever been there, but it's the capital of Canada.
Woohoo! In Ottawa. And Tracy's waving away, just in case you can't see Tracy. She's
I'm in Gatineau.
Oh, nice.
So
there we go.
we need to go have a beer.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, that's awesome. We started about a year ago. I was working in industry for much of my career. I worked at BlackBerry, a couple defense and aerospace companies, a healthcare company.
You know what, Brian, I'm going totally cold in on this.
Yep.
In an accounting role?
Yes. Yeah. All accounting. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So my background actually, I did psychology, and then I wasn't doing anything with that, so I did accounting. And then I did my chartered professional accountant in Canada, which is the same as CPA in the US.
Yep.
And then I did an MBA as well.
Oh, you're a smarty smart.
Lots of schooling. I should basically be a doctor by now, but I'm not, unfortunately. But yeah, started my business a year ago. I have a business partner. I'm the only one full-time right now, actually. So we're still sort of in growth mode, and we're very tech oriented, as you can see from the post that I made.
Yeah.
There's a lot of efficiencies and effectiveness you can gain from using different technology. So we try to use that in our business as well as with our clients.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we already know what your client-facing tech stack looks. You've got the usual suspects in there. I saw HubDoc, QBO0, Pluto, Receipt Bank. So we all get that, and I think most of us that are in this chat group today could hang our hats on most of those apps as well. But tell me what your base internal tech stack looks like, just super quick, and then we'll get on to what this app is all about.
Okay. Our website's with WordPress. We use Microsoft 365, so all the different apps within there.
Yep.
We use Trello, obviously, from that Zap. You can see we use that for project management and keeping track of tasks.
Mm-hmm.
MailChimp for marketing and any onboarding emails, as you also saw.
Yeah.
What else? 1Password for keeping track of all of our various passwords.
Right.
ShareFile for cloud sharing or cloud storage sharing. What else? Slack for messaging.
Okay. And what's your client uptake like on Slack?
Not bad. Some use it, some use other things. So another client that I have uses Stride, which used to be HipChat.
Right.
Yep. But we try to get them on Slack just because we use it and we're very familiar with it, and it works awesomely. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So before we get on to your Zap, I just want to say, like I said, when I'm in Heather's course, I come away with it knowing so much more interesting ideas outside of Zap. So Brian, you and I talked briefly about this. That is kind of cool that you're using MailChimp to do your onboarding. I would not have thought of that. Coming from the branding industry and being a marketing gal before I was in accounting, as a bookkeeper, I certainly had not thought of MailChimp to onboard my clients. So cool. Yep. So I think that was a kind of a fun takeaway for everybody who read your file, or at very least for me. And it's all about Kelly. So there you go. So what was, yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, even you have to think that was a bit of a creative idea to use MailChimp for onboarding.
I don't know. I guess so. If you guys think so, sure. I don't know, I guess like the way I thought about it was when I'm doing onboarding, what are my repetitive tasks, right? So I always send a welcome email, explain a few things to them, let them know that there's going to be further emails because, they'll have access to QuickBooks or Xero, they'll have access to HubDoc, any cloud storage that we're using.
You know what? You guys are never going to believe this. Am I recording this?
Yep, says recording.
Okay, good. Okay, Sherry Lee told me to check that I was recording it. Like I said, so many tech fails. Okay, carry on.
I see the light blinking, so I think we're
okay.
good.
Yep.
Yeah, so I send out like a lot of repetitive emails. So I kind of thought, okay, well, I know in marketing there's different software that you can use to do drip campaigns.
Yeah.
If anyone doesn't know what a drip campaign, it's basically someone goes on a list, they get one email, maybe a couple of days later they get another, and it just keeps going until the end of the campaign for however many emails you have. So knowing that my onboarding is very repetitive and I'm sending out all these emails in sequence, why not do a drip campaign?
Yeah,
right?
It's brilliant. In hindsight, it makes so much sense. But again, it's a little out of the box. MailChimp is for marketing. But that was great. That was a really fun takeaway for me when I read that. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was the problem you were trying to solve? What wasn't effectively going on? Like we don't know that in onboarding, right?
Yeah. I mean, it pretty much comes back to all the repetitive tasks that I was doing. Even typing up a welcome email takes time. Sure, you can save a template and use that, but again, that's going to take time. So why not just automate the repetitive tasks? And I'm sure everyone has heard that before, but realistically, you got to take the time to actually think about, okay, what am I doing repetitively, and what software can I use to automate that? Right. So, the drip campaign was one for me, and then using Zapier as well to link all of these different apps together and kick off that sequence of zaps.
Cool. Okay. So let's get down to the heart of why I think a lot of people are here is to hear more about how this app works. So I saw the email templates. That was fantastic. And I know Trent mentioned it, but that was, more than a week ago, which may as well be 20 years ago in terms of trying to find that post. So I'd love to know the apps, triggers, the actions, and the filters. That would be awesome. And the fact that I know that those are all the things in Zapier, that's where Heather's brought me to so far.
You're doing
Not
good.
to go on and on about Heather, but Brian, I know that you have worked with Heather as well.
I have, yeah.
Yeah.
I've chatted with her many times. Yeah. Why don't I maybe share my screen, because I have Zapier open right now. I can just scroll through and show you guys sort of what it looks like.
Awesome. So let me just. Can you share your screen from there? Is it going to give you permission to do that, Brian?
Yep.
Great. Take it away.
Cool. All right. Can everybody see my screen here?
Yeah.
Nod. Yep. We got some nods. Okay. Cool. All right, yeah, so, obviously the first step being practice ignition, because I'm getting that proposal accepted. And I actually have a filter on here a little further down based on the type of service that they're accepting. So you can see the trigger right here, service accepted by client. After that, because
Brian, can I ask a quick, so what are the apps now that you're connecting?
Oh, okay. So I have Pi, Zapier, I guess, MailChimp, Trello, lots of Trello.
EI, Practice Ignition?
Yep.
Yep, okay.
And then we have Slack, and then some more MailChimp there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. Can you, got it.
Lots of steps.
Yep.
So I was saying because Pi includes the first name and last name together in a contact, you need to split those out in order for it to work properly with MailChimp, right? Because if you look at MailChimp, they have those categories separate, right? You have the first name one and the last name one.
Right, okay.
And that's where you can actually get into sending messages like, hey, Brian, and it looks more personalized, right?
Right.
So what I do is I use the split text function in Zapier. That's a built-in one. So it just splits out the first name and the last name. I can click in here if you guys want to see how that works, actually. yeah, so split text. Input is the person's name. Separator, you just leave it blank and you pick first, and that'll automatically separate their first name for you.
Right.
Okay. Last name, again, same thing, although the only additional step that you're doing is instead of splitting, you're inputting and you're finding the first name and you're replacing it with blank so that it picks the last name.
Right.
So it's sort of, I guess, how Zapier set up the function so that it can pick the first and last name. So nice little separator there. Then you can actually put it into other software as well. So I've actually thought of some additional steps I can add to this already.
Of course you have.
I have a delay on this one because I have another Zap that's already creating the client board, versus if I didn't have a delay, it would try to find or create the board at the same time as the other Zap creating the board. So then you get two boards instead of one.
Right.
So you need to, when you're thinking about doing something like this, you need to think about how how you get that person into Trello or Asana or, I think Monday.com is another option, and how you want to link those, I guess. So
Yeah,
delay it for sure.
Yeah, you have to give them time to get the message out there, right? And for the message to be accepted. Yep.
Yeah, I just delay it for 3 minutes.
Yep. Okay.
Most of them are instantaneous anyways, but, and then, oh, here we go. So this is the continue only if, or only continue if. And this is based on the service name. So remember the first step was a service being accepted, right? So I want to continue this if it has bookkeeping in the name or solopreneur. And the reason why I do that is because this specific Zap is just for a bookkeeping client.
Okay. Gotcha.
Right. So there's a lot more steps involved when you have ongoing work. When it's taxes, you're only having that sort of one-off project, so to say. So I just want to focus this one on bookkeeping. I do have other Zaps specifically for a tax service acceptance, but this one is just for bookkeeping. And obviously, if you don't have bookkeeping or solopreneur in the name, then it's going to fail and you're not going to get all these other additional steps, which I don't want to happen anyways. All right. The next one is actually adding them to my bookkeeping list. So any of my clients that are getting ongoing bookkeeping, I throw them onto this list so that if I only want to contact my bookkeeping clients, then I can easily do that through MailChimp if I want to do another campaign, right? Because I don't want to blast all of my contacts and say, you need to do this in HubDoc for whatever reason, because they may not be a bookkeeping client and they probably won't understand what I'm saying if I'm mentioning HubDoc.
Right.
Right. And then right here, this is the step that actually kicks off the drip campaign. So I have another separate list that is specifically for bookkeeping onboarding. Okay, so they get added to the list, and then whenever anyone gets added, it kicks off that drip campaign because it's an ongoing campaign that I have. So that's where it'll take it outside of Zapier, and was the document that I posted in your Facebook group.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to explain the drip campaign. You guys, I'm sure, read through the document, so that's fine.
I hope so.
And then the next sort of 8 to 15 is all within Trello. So I'm finding the board that was created by the other Zap. If for whatever reason it didn't actually create it, then it'll create it here. I've never had an issue where it doesn't create it, so that's good. And then it starts creating an onboarding list, right? So for me, for a bookkeeping client, generally they'll go through my onboarding process, and then they have, say, HST filings. They'll have month-end, close, and then some reporting, for example. Right. Those will be different lists within their board. And within the onboarding list, we have a number of different cards. So, these are all just the different checklists that I'm creating, essentially. So You know, the first one here, for example, I think this is my welcome one. Yeah, contract and welcome email. And then I basically just have a checklist on each of these. So, you know, you can see a bunch of them here. I'm pretty sure I posted this. I think I did. Or someone might have just requested it separately, but I have a whole checklist that I go through. Just it's the same every time. Make sure I'm getting all the right information.
Right.
And that way onboarding runs smoothly, right? Because, you know, if you don't have, in my opinion anyways, if you don't have a solid onboarding process, then you're sort of losing out on that excitement that the client has, right?
Right.
Because when they sign with you, they're very, very excited. You know, they want to get their financial house in order. And then all of a sudden you disappear for, you know, 2 weeks or 3 weeks just to get everything set up. But if you're doing something like this, for example, it looks like you're communicating with them anyways.
Yeah. And don't you just some days want to say, hey, where did you go?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Also,
And maybe they want to say that to us too.
Yeah. I onboarded a client recently, and I noticed, I went and looked at my drip campaign, and I noticed that she hadn't clicked on any of the emails.
Oh.
So I texted her. I'm like, well, are you getting the emails? What's going on? Like, are you okay? Are you alive?
Right.
She's like, oh, I'm super busy, of course. And, you know, but she said, I saw the emails, just letting you know that I'll get to it eventually. So, you know, there's obviously some actions that you need from every client when they onboard with you. And if they're not doing those actions, then yeah, you do have to follow up. So there's some manual intervention, so to say.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I had some manual intervention on keeping the automation from going too crazy on this webinar itself. Anyways, carry on. Sorry.
Cool. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of different cards. You know,
Tell me what card number 14 is. I'm not going to get into what's every card, but I don't know. Let's just see what you got in there, just for fun, because onboarding is fun.
Yeah. So we have send welcome package.
Okay.
Yeah. So depending on, I may change this, but depending on the size of the organization, you know, I send them a cheat sheet and then maybe a personal video and some swag. You know, if it's someone that's like a solopreneur, if you've been on my website, you can see the pricing on there. I'm probably not going to send them a gift, to be quite honest, because that kills my margins.
Yeah, you need some ROI.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, you know, one of the reasons I was late today was I signed a new client. So, you know, with this one, it's a much larger client, so I probably will send them a gift.
Oh, that's fun. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's goes to the cards, adds those in. And it really depends on, like, sure, you could just copy what I have for my checklist, but it really depends on what information you're trying to gather and then what your steps are to onboard someone, right? So again, you could, like I said, you could copy me, but I would highly recommend thinking about it yourself and what your processes are internally, for sure.
For sure. And I'm just going to interject for a second. We're going to go over. Hopefully that's okay with you, Brian?
Yep.
Great. For anybody who can't stay, the recording will be in the workflow watering hole. But carry on, Brian. If you're good to go, I'm good to go. Yep. Yeah. Okay.
The last few steps here. So number 16 is just sending that channel message to my teammates to say, hey, we got a new client, and go check Trello. This is the board name. I haven't figured out yet how to link the actual board. Hopefully that's something I can figure out, or you can actually do, but you know, it's just a quick message so that everyone knows what's going on, that we've signed someone new and they need to check for any actions that they need to do. So,
okay.
And then the last two, so I have another delay in here. It delays for 6 days because my drip campaign is run over 5 days. So after that 5th day, or on the 6th day, I actually unsubscribe them from my my bookkeeping onboarding list.
Okay.
Right. So that gets them off of it, because I was reading recently that if you actually add another email to your drip campaign and someone is still on the list, they'll receive that email. So I may not want them to receive that, because I may have just changed the process and what emails I'm sending out. Right.
Right. And it doesn't make sense at that point. Yeah.
It wouldn't make sense for them to receive an onboarding email if they're already working with me.
Right. Okay, cool. Yeah. Good last step. sometimes trying to get them out of part of the process is as hard as getting them into the process.
Yes, for sure. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's the 18-step Zap plus the link to my drip campaign through MailChimp.
That is cool. So let me recap what I think I saw in there. Practice Ignition, Trello, MailChimp, and Slack, right? As the apps.
Yep.
And then I saw some of the actions. You were splitting a few things and moving things around.
Yep.
And you had quite a few filters in there.
Yep.
That was great. And the delays are, like I said, great. I certainly learned you need those going on. Okay, so that was really cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. So do you have a few minutes for questions?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, why don't we take it off a screen share and I'll open it up to questions. So if you have questions, and let me just give it a go here. Chat is up and running if you're shy, or you should be able to unmute yourself if you have a question for Brian.
Hey, Kelly, it's Cam. I have a question.
Okay.
Just wondering, you know, a lot of us were talking before Brian came on about how we're a little overwhelmed by the Zaps, and I'm just wondering what the learning curve was like to be comfortable with using it and making it efficient for you.
Good question.
Very good question. I like to tinker a lot, so and I'm pretty good with technology anyways. So for me, it didn't take much. But they have a lot of help articles on there for sure. If you're not, I guess, technologically savvy and you're just sort of starting out, it might be a little bit to get going, but the best way is honestly just to play around, right? Get in there, think of a Zap that you want to do. So like one for me, for example, that I have is when I want to meet with a prospective client, I get them to fill out a type form survey that just asks them some general questions to learn more about them so that I can use that to guide the conversation during our free assessment.
I got to jump in. I love Typeform. I don't need it right now, but I have dinked around in a friend's account. He's shaking his head right now because he's in on this. I wish I needed Typeform. It's built into my main app, but sorry, carry on, Brian.
It looks beautiful too. But yeah, so I use that, and you know, sort of the way that I figured out how I wanted it to work was I filled out my own type form, and then based on how I want the information to come in, I used a Zap to say send an email to automate them booking a meeting with me, because we may not have already set a meeting. It might just be they may have found me through the internet, and I have a link to my type form on my website. So if they just fill that out, they'll get an automated email saying, hey, great to meet you. Here are your answers. By the way, if you're really proactive, you can book a meeting with me and we can kick off the conversation that way. Otherwise, you know, I'll just respond anyways. But, you know, that's a way you can kind of tinker, right? Just go in and think of a process that you want to automate and then just do it as if you're the client and play around Zapier that way.
Right. Okay. Now, we said at the beginning, Kimmy, I'm with you, Zap, I think because there's so many possibilities, it's the one app that, like I said, makes my head spin a little bit. But I'm trying to keep two things in mind. The same thing I keep in mind with almost all technology. Probably not going to break it. The sun is going to rise tomorrow, even if you make a mistake in it. I'm pretty sure all of you guys are shaking your head at my tech fail over this whole webinar, but you're all going to move on from it. I don't know, by tomorrow, you'll be thinking about something else. So sometimes you just have to goof around in it, but the best thing you can do is test drive it on yourself, or in my case, I guinea pig my husband on everything. But it's such a good question, Kimmy.
Thanks.
Hey, Brian, it's Mike here.
Yep.
I'd love to hear your input as to what your thought process is to sort of defer to another Zap, or how much do you try to shove in one Zap in processes, right? Like I heard you a couple times, you have a delay in there because something else is going on in the background. How do you decide which is which?
Good question. So the Zap that I just showed actually used to be 3 Zaps, I think it was. And then I basically went back to the drawing board to figure out how I can merge them all, right? Because so I'm only on the starter plan, which is 20 Zaps. I think I'm at 18 right now, so I'm very close to the edge there. So I'm trying to basically utilize the number of Zaps that I have available as best as possible, right? So instead of using 3, I figured out a way to use 1. And I mean, it really comes back to like what information you're trying to get, what are the inputs, and then what are the outputs that you want, right? So I referred to that practice ignition template where you can actually kind of sit down and map it out essentially. And I think that's probably the most important step, definitely.
So this is the little Zap that grew?
Sorry?
This is the little Zap that grew?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
So is it more like sort of onboarding can be sort of one Zap and it just can keep going on and on forever? Not forever, but I mean, you know,
yeah.
That's a big thing, right? Like,
yeah,
it's all the same information, but you're using it different places, different apps, different
yeah.
things.
So, you know, for me, it was looking at those repetitive tasks, right? I mentioned earlier, those are the easiest ones to automate. So, you know, like I said, for onboarding, I'm always sending that welcome email. I'm always sending software access emails, you know, a couple other things. So why not look at a way to automate that? And like this obviously does the job for me. And, you know, that's, like I said, it's kind of something you need to think about a little more deeply if you are going to try to automate a process. It does take some time for sure. I think for me to get to this 18-step Zap, it took me probably 3 months. Right. So I had the 3 initially, and then just thinking about it more, tinkering around a bit, figuring out where information is coming from, where I want to send it to, how I want to email clients, what information I want to send them. That just sort of led me to building out this large Zap.
We'll call that a humongous Zap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Does that answer your question, Mike?
It does, yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Welcome.
Now, just as for reference, Mike is also a Zap fan. He's happily zapping things away as well.
Nice.
I am. I'm not quite up to the 18 level yet, but you know, 4 or 5 for sure. Those are cool.
Yeah.
Mike may or may not be the guy that I test drove Typeform with as well. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else?
I see a question in the chat if I can do a Trello webinar.
Oh, you know what? That's funny. It's not showing up in my chat. Oh, yes,
Okay.
it is. There it is.
Maybe? I don't know. That's a good question. I'd have to think about that one just because there's a lot more. I think there's a lot more to Trello than Zapier, to be honest, just because of all the power-ups and whatnot. I personally only use one power-up, which is the repeat card. Repeat card. But yeah, I'll have to think about that.
If you start mentioning it, that's funny. Okay, very funny, Arden. You are a funny guy. I will give you that. So Brian, I am going to take that offline with you, and we're gonna maybe chat about, because you don't have to be fantastic at it as accounting professionals. What we'd love to see is what are you doing that's working for you. So see, now I'm going to make you really sorry that you agreed to this Zap one, because maybe the workflow watering hole should do a Trello one with you. And just so that everybody knows, the workflow watering hole, aka Sherry and I'm hoping to set up, I'm done as of tomorrow demoing the workflow apps that I'm going to demo, and I'm going to do some hopefully partner webinars, and hopefully I will manage them better than this one. We're going to do some partner webinars on some of the workflow apps too, just so that everybody can run through the basics at once without having to book your own personal demo, just to get the overview. So Brian, I may pick your brain about that, sorry. Okay, any other questions? Okay, so what my takeaway on that is, oh man, I hate the phrase takeaway. what I just got from that is that you did a great job of explaining what it is that you're doing, as well as those of us who know as much as we know about Zapier can follow. Did that make any sense?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So I think we're probably ready to wrap it up. If a few of you could unmute yourself and say goodbye and thank Brian personally for me, that would be fantastic.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
And Kelly.
Thanks, Brian and Kelly.
Thanks, Brian and Kelly. Have a great day.
Kelly, yes. Thanks, Kelly.
Okay, thanks guys. That's awesome. Thank you all for joining me, and again for your patience with the tech fail around all of this. I'm going to post the recording in the workflow watering hole fairly soon. So, you know, I time block, so I'm not back in the Facebook till later on, but I'll post it either tonight or tomorrow morning. And thanks everybody. I really appreciate your time. I know we all got a lot to do, and have a great rest of the day.
Thanks, Kelly.
Bye.